Hello pupils, we are back for another lesson on the Writer's Crusade. I am your teacher, Ms. Shamshideen, and for this lesson, we will be looking at letters and writing a letter. Now before I go on, Liz Carpenter stated, "What a lot we lost when we stopped writing letters. You can't reread a phone call." Let me say that again, and this was written by Liz Carpenter. "What a lot we lost when we stopped writing letters. You can't reread a phone call." Now, let's look at what a letter is. A letter is a written or typed message conveyed from one person to another. So, it is a message that is sent in written or typed words from one person to another. There are many different types of letters. Some of those that we will be focusing on are the friendly or personal letter and the formal or business letter. Now, even though we have these two types of letters that we will be looking at, there are also many reasons why we write letters. For example, we may write a letter as a form of invitation or for the purpose of an application, to place a complaint, to apologize, to share experiences, and there are many other reasons that we can use a letter for. Now, a letter has different parts. Let's look at these parts. We have the heading of the letter, the greetings or salutation, we have the body, the closing, and then we have the signature. Now, when you looked at those parts, you may recall that some of them were looked at when we discussed various types of writing for composition or for writing a story. For instance, we spoke about the heading, we spoke about the body, and we spoke about the closing. So the letter, in addition to those parts, has a greeting or salutation and a signature. Now let's find out what each part will entail. The heading of the letter usually includes the address and date at the top of the letter. Unlike a composition, it does not have an address or the date. The greeting or salutation is the opening. For example, "Dear Mom," and that is followed by a comma for a friendly letter or a colon when it's a formal or business letter. In the body of the letter, we find the heart of it. Now, the body of the letter we describe as the heart of the letter. This is where you write your message. Remember to keep your writing clear and easy to read. In the closing, it can also be referred to as the end of your letter. This is where you will write a few closing words such as "sincerely," "your friend," "respectfully." These are all followed by a comma as well. The signature is where you place your name. Here I have a diagram just to give you a layout of what your letter may look like. We have parts of the letter. At the top, the heading, where you will have the address, and then the greeting. You have the body, which we said is the heart of the letter. And at the foot, you have there the closing. The last thing that you will write in your letter is your signature. Here I have a more clearer layout of what your letter should look like. We can say that this is the format of your letter. Now at the top, you will have your address. Below the address, you will simply write the date. In the left-hand corner, you write your greeting or salutation. And for example, we have there, Dear Patsy. So we're writing this letter to Patsy. We next have the body. Now in the body, just like a story, it must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The body is very often made up of more than one paragraphs. I hope you're paying attention. Once you are finished expressing your ideas in the body of the letter, we have the closing. And then you write your name and you sign it. Now, let's read these and see which part of the letter it is. Remember the parts of the letter. We have the heading of the letter, the greeting or salutation, the body, the closing, and the signature. So, Dear Rita, what part of the letter is that? Yes, that is the greeting or salutation. Then I have Danella Shamsuddin. Yes, that's my name. And so I will use that as my signature at the bottom of the letter. 124 Charity Housing Scheme. That's where I live. Since I'm writing the letter, I have to use my address. Your friend, and the comma follows. That's the closing. I am writing this letter to, and you say what you're writing the letter to do. That part of that sentence forms the beginning of the body. 28 April 2021. That's the date. So there you have examples of each part of the letter that we discussed. Now it's your turn to insert the parts of the letter in the template below. At the top, you see clearly I have two empty boxes. In the first one, you write the address. That's correct. And below that, you write the date. Then we move to the left-hand corner where we have the greeting or salutation. Below that, we have all the information that we need to include to form the body. And finally, we have our closing words and our signature. Were you able to label it correctly? I hope you were. All right, boys and girls. That was me inserting the parts of the letter. I am sure that you were able to follow that. So let's do a general recap. We said that a letter is a written or typed message conveyed from one person to another through a medium. Some types of letters are friendly or personal letter, formal or business letter. The parts of the letter are the heading, the greeting or salutation, the body, the closing, and the signature. The heading of the letter usually includes the address and the date at the top. The greeting or salutation is the opening, like, Dear Mom, and that's followed by a comma for a friendly letter. And for a business letter, it's followed by a colon, which we will look at a little more in another lesson. The body is described as the heart of the letter. This is where you write your message. Remember, you keep your writing clear and easy to read. The closing is the ending of your letter, where you write the closing words such as sincerely or your friend. This is also followed by a comma. And finally, the signature is where you sign your name. So that's all for this lesson, pupils. Remember to join me right here on the Learning Channel for another lesson on the Writer's Crusade.